Long Beach High School football. Today's game features the Saints of Santa Ana High School traveling to face the Millikan Rams. Hi everybody, my name is Willie Padilla. Year after year as we've covered Long Beach High School football, the team to beat has been the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits. No one else in the Moore League thus far and during this 1997 season has stepped up to claim one of the second or third spots so far as being the favorite team heading towards the CIF playoffs at the end of the season. One team that would like to do that is the Millikan Rams, a team that just missed the CIF playoffs last season despite an outstanding season. Joining me as usual is Errol Parker. And Errol, the Millikan Rams tonight face a team that was maybe them 5 years ago when they faced the Santa Ana Saints tonight. Here's a team that's winless not only this season, but last season as well.
Yes, they have not won in 2 seasons with their coach Mike Milliner, but he sees some improvement. What he's been trying to do, Willie, is change their offense, change their defense around, move some people around because they have a really young team. They only start 2 seniors on this year's team. They have not won a game this year, and they have been competitive in the first half, and then they've gone down the toilet. But maybe they'll turn it around tonight.
Well, one thing you want with young kids is for them not to be tainted by the losing atmosphere. That's what they've got over at Santa Ana. But our own Eddie Van Geis had an opportunity to speak with Mark Miller, the head coach of Santa Ana, about today's game.
The head coach of the Santa Ana Saints is Coach Mark Miller. And, Coach, it's good to have you and your team here in Long Beach. First of all, we don't get to follow the Saints of Santa Ana. Describe your team for us, please.
Well, we're really a young team. We play a lot of sophomores on the varsity this year. And we're trying to turn this program around, me and my staff, and we think that's the best place to start. So we have a lot of 14 and 15-year-olds on the team, and we're building, and I think, you know, by the end of this year, we'll have a lot of seasoned veterans.
Now you make the trip to Long Beach, and you're up against the Millikan team. Tell me about what you think their strengths are and what you have to do to win this ball game.
Well, just sheer numbers. I mean, look at all the kids that are out here. You've got a lot of big linemen. I don't have a player that's 6 foot tall, I don't believe. Most of my kids are about 150 pounds, and we're looking at playing against guys almost twice that size. Well, some of them are, and they got a lot of height and a lot of size and a lot of depth. So, you know, we've got a lot of guys going both ways and a lot of young kids. So we're really outmatched physically tonight, and we just hope that maybe we can get an edge in some of the other areas, turnovers, penalties, that kind of thing, stay in there.
All right, Coach, good luck tonight.
All right, thank you.
One coach who can empathize with the situation over at Santa Ana High School is the head coach of the Millikan Rams, Tony Peralta. He had the same kind of situation here, but he has turned things around. Last year, an outstanding season. They just missed the CIF playoffs. This year, they'd like to claim one of those second and third spots that seem available because Poly seems to be the head and shoulders team above the rest of the class.
Well, they have a legitimate shot at the playoff game this year. But there's no secret that I really like Tony Peralta because he has turned this program around, not only from a physical standpoint, Willie, but from a moral standpoint. He's got his guys playing together, and he's got some high standards, and I think he's going to do well this year. They just missed the playoffs last year when they fumbled on the 7-yard line in Jordan High School. This year, it's been really tough, 1-2, but they haven't had their offensive line together since the spring. But they have a very good defense, and if their offensive line under Tom Morgan, the offensive line coach, can start clicking, they will have a legitimate shot at a playoff spot this year.
Indeed, during Coach Peralta's tenure here at Millikan High School, the talent has at times been suspect, but the class has never been in question here at Millikan High School. And our own Eddie Van Geis had an opportunity to speak with head coach Tony Peralta about today's matchup.
The very fine head coach of the Millikan Rams is Coach Tony Peralta, the man responsible for a great year, turning things around in 1996. Tony, starting out this year, I know that right now you're 1-2. Obviously, early in the season, this is a big game tonight.
Oh yeah, anytime, you know, Friday night's always a big game. No matter what your record is, but yes, for us especially, we haven't lost 2 in a row. We didn't lose 2 in a row last year, and we have at this point early on. So it's a real character test for us to see if we can handle adversity and bounce back and stick together.
What is the key to win this ball game this evening?
Well, if we look back at the 2 games that we lost, we lost them. The teams didn't beat us. And right now we're beating ourselves. So if we can execute and not make mental mistakes, turnovers and penalties, the team that makes a few mistakes tonight will win. And hopefully that's us.
Finally, how does this team this year compare with the very fine Millikan team you had last year?
Well, potentially we're better. I think we're better in the skill positions, but we're more inexperienced. And it shows early on. Last year we got off to a great start. This year, I think we still have the potential to get better, and I think that's there. So I think potentially we're better, but we are more inexperienced.
All right, Coach, good luck tonight. Have a good game.
Thank you. Good to see you.
All right, Tony, nice seeing you.
Well, based on the records, it looks to be an even matchup, or at least a competitive matchup. But for the Millikan High School Rams, here's a team that wants to take it to the next level.
Yes, and in order to do that, they're going to have to establish the run, and they're going to have to cut down on their penalties, Willie. But it's family night tonight, and we want to talk about that a little bit. Tony Peralta has put a lot of people, the parents who have done a good job with their kids, as well as the program. He wants to recognize them tonight. But what they're going to have to do is establish the run. They're going to have to throw the ball real well, because their defense has kept them in every ball game this year. And if their offense can click, they'll be okay in this football game. On the other hand, the Saints have a lot of problems that they're trying to solve with a young team.
Errol, always the master of the sublime, sneaking in that parents' night right in between the running matchup for the Millikan Rams. Well, we've got our Long Beach High School football game of the week coming up next as the Santa Ana High School Saints travel to face the Millikan Rams. My name is Willie Padilla. Along with me, Errol Parker and Eddie Van Guy. Stay with us. Long Beach High School football is coming up next. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football as Santa Ana and Millikan get together. We'd like to remind you that our Charter Communications broadcast of Long Beach High School football is brought to you by the Long Beach Unified School District. Today's scholars are tomorrow's leaders, and by Avid Electronics. Why settle for ordinary when it comes to your video? And by Cervello Sports Stop and Restaurant. We'll go through our good friends again at the Long Beach Unified School District, where today's scholars are tomorrow's leaders. Avid Electronics, why settle for ordinary when it comes to your video? And by Cervello Sports Stop and Restaurant. We are underway on the field as receiving it was Paul Ayer, and to err is human, you might say, as he stepped out of bounds with the football. The Rams come out led by quarterback Mike Aguirre. In the backfield, he'll have Mark Paxton and Paul Ayer. Kyle Moore, Eric Slater, and Mark Wells, the receiving core, which might have been a copy of last year's graphics. Dan Zuniga, Adam Arce, Mike Walbridge, Vance Hardy, and Damont Otis. First and 10, Rams start from their 18 after Paul Ayer stepped out of bounds after receiving the opening kickoff. Good start for Santa Ana in terms of their special teams. As Aguirre rolling to his left, has a man, incomplete as he tried to complete it to Eric Slater, Santa Ana's defense, and this will be a big job for them as Chris Weaver, Sergio Terran, and Juan Ramirez make up the secondary. At the linebackers position, Larry Elizalde, Robert Ramirez, and Brian Thacker. The line, Mario Alvarado, Aldo Garcia, Sila Matamua, and Armando Hernandez. Santa Ana 0-3 during this 1997 campaign.
They've played Mission Viejo, Santiago, and Los Alamitos.
Not to be confused with Los Alamitos. That would have been a far different task.
And they lost to them 41-8, so it might have been Los Alamitos. Los Amigos.
Well, Los Amigos, no slouch, but no Los Alamitos either.
Well, Santiago, they had a competitive game, losing 24-20, but they lost their opener to Mission Viejo 41-12. Now, Mission Viejo has a fine football team.
Clock not operating. Third down and 9. As Aguirre drops back, has a man, completes it to Slater. First down for Millikan. Well, that's something that the Rams offensively have had trouble getting started. It was their passing game over the last few years, and part of that is the youngsters that they had playing in their lineup, but also getting new players at the quarterback position. Aguirre there completes what would be a very routine pass, but one that the Rams have had difficulty in the recent pass completing. The give goes to Ayer, and Ayer runs for a first down as he gets to the 45.
The Willie, the Air has already scored 3 touchdowns this year, and he had a big game against Shore, which they lost last week. But the young man is a hard runner, and they are going to be without DeAndre Grant tonight. He's really just a straight-ahead bulldozer type of runner, the kind of runner that is hard to bring down.
The give goes to Air again. He slips one tackle, gets another first down, gets into the open field, cuts back right up the middle, gets to the 25. Big pickup for the Rams. Paul Air on back-to-back carries.
Just a straight power eye. The inexperienced offensive line for the Rams, just the first time that this unit has been together. This is their starting unit since the spring. They've been injured, and Coach Tom Morgan has had to do a lot of flip-flopping, Willie, to get this line synchronized.
Paul Air could have ran further and not gotten as far downfield if he had gone laterally. Instead, he went right up the middle, got a good chunk of yardage to the 25. Aguirre fakes once, completes it quickly, still on his feet and trying to get an opening is Alfred Durr. Alfred Durr, another player in the lineup for the Rams that over the last few years, it seems like he's been here forever.
Alfred Durr played defensive back last year, and he's probably played that also tonight. So he's been changed to a two-way starter. He was an all-league performer last year.
The flag waved off. Apparently the football came loose after the completion, and Santa Ana recovered it. Santa Ana comes out, as we mentioned, 0-3, but competitive in one of their contests, and thus far forcing a turnover on the opening series. First and 10 from the 29. Once again, I look at the scoreboard, it's not operating, so we have no idea as how much time is left. Left end appeared to encroach Steiner Falpusa, and the starting lineup for the Saints at quarterback, Luis Curiel. In the backfield, Roberto Ramirez, Mario Alvarado, and at fullback, 45, that's Sila Matamua. Chris Weaver, Juan Ramirez make up the receiving core. And the line, Armando Hernandez, Alfonso Cedillo, Albert Saldana, Edson Godinez, and Ed Asatudio.
Saldana is a good one. I'll get that name right pretty soon.
First and 15, apparently the Ram defensive end was drawn offside. So procedure against the Saints, first and 15, as they give right up the middle and a good piece of yardage. The secondary for the Rams, Alfred Durr, Leyland Haas, Gary Davis, Carl Cabrera, Jesse Magwadog, E.J. Ashby, Matt Shaver, the linebackers. Tim English, Junior Taufi, Javier Alvarez, and Steiner Falpusa, who we mentioned earlier. First and 10. As, again, the give for the Saints goes to number 2, and we don't have a number 2 on our roster from the Saints, but I'll go ahead and look at some other information I have, see if we can get it that way.
Well, both of these teams are employing a power I offense with the fullback right in front and 2 receivers on one side of the field, usually the wide side of the field. They've been operating off the hash thus far in a couple of series. It's
Robert Ramirez, number 2. Second down, 10. Ramirez has carried the football on the 2 plays that the Saints have run. This time the give goes to their second back through. And again, a change in the numbers for the Saints. And again, I'll go to my multiple paperwork, see if I can find who number 10 for the Saints is.
Kind of rough for you so far. We don't have the right numbers, Willie, but we'll figure it out. These Saints have struggled. They have not won a game in 2 years. They were 0-10 last year. Played a couple of competitive games. They did play one competitive game thus far this year with Santiago before relinquishing that loss at 24-20.
Well, Well, how do you expect to win a game if you can't even get your roster straight? As Curiel, quarterback, facing 3rd and 11 from the 39. They need to get to midfield to the Saints, and they won't get there as the Rams converge on Chris Weaver, 5 yards shy.
Matt Sharver made the tackle that time, 3-year starter. We saw Sharver play some outstanding games last year. He's a very mobile linebacker. There it is. There's Matt Sharver, number 30, coming up here to get an assist on the tackle. Number 47 for the Rams, Ignacio assisted with the tackle, but it was Sharver that got the initial tackle.
Back in the truck, our producer director Rob Makehamson saying that Weaver should have been spinning trying to get out of the grasp of Sharver, but Sharver had a good grasp on the elbow and probably prevented that as the snap over the head of the punter for Santa Ana, and regardless of who recovers it, the Rams will get it in darn good, perfect field position. You can't get much better than that.
Special teams are a very important unit on any football team, and sometimes young coaches tend to overlook it. That time it was a bad snap by the long snapper, and the Rams have excellent field position on the 10-yard line.
Frankly, if I'm the kicker, I'm still kicking it just out of my own end zone. Give the 2 points up rather than giving what would appear to be a sure 7. We'll see if the Santa Ana defense can withstand this excellent start in terms of field position for the Millikan Rams. As Aguirre, excuse me, he'll run the option, call his own number, and get inside the 5 before going head up with the Saint tackler, number 88, Juan Ramirez.
Juan Ramirez gave him a good lick there. One of the downsides to running the option for the quarterback is you're going to take a lick sometimes even if you pitch the ball. There it is. He decides to take it himself. He's holding that ball kind of carelessly, but he tucks it in before he takes a really good smack.
One wonders who gave and who took the shot. Meanwhile, back to live action as Paul Ayer does the honors, gets in, touchdown Millikan. That was quick.
Well, Millikan takes advantage of a bad snap from center, comes at around the 14-yard line and just takes 2 plays to get it in, and they're up in this football game. Ayer gets his 4th touchdown of the young season, and they don't seem like they miss their starting quarterback, DeAndre Grant, much yet.
DeAndre Grant, if you recall the kind of efforts he had on last year's coverage of Long Beach High School football, probably the most impressive specimen at fullback in the Moore League. Meanwhile, the Rams tack on the extra point. They take the 7-0 lead. We'll take a break. Back with more in a moment. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. Millikan Rams out on top of the Santa Ana Saints by a score of 7-zip. And Ken Caceres has it teed up. And he kicks away to the far side, to the side Chris Weaver was on, and he kicks it out of bounds. Saints have the option. They'll take it on the 35, I would imagine, or make the Rams kick it again.
Chris Weaver, who is returning kickoffs, is also their leading receiver. He was the wide receiver of the week for Orange County last week, Willie, and he caught, he had 280 yards that he gained in reception last week. Excuse me, 180 yards, not 280. That would be some type of record.
That could be the difference between winning and losing.
Yes. 100 yards, he probably would have won the game if that was the case. Meanwhile,
as the Saints start their second drive down 7-zip, we're getting ready to go down to a report from Eddie Van Geis, who is the 3rd member of our broadcast crew. As in trouble, the football's loose. The Saints look like they got it back. And let's get a report from Eddie Van Geis.
Willie and Errol, our opening report tonight deals with last week's game. Of course, we had the scariest of situations when a young man from Muir, Jermaine James, JJ, was down on the ground. He was unconscious for over 2 minutes. He was transported to Long Beach Memorial. And for all of our viewers out there, I want to give you this good news. I talked to Coach Tony Crutchfield this week. Jermaine has been in class all week. He's doing fine. They did an MRI. Everything proved negative. He's not playing yet this weekend. He will be playing next weekend. So very good news. The young man, we had a serious scare because he was unconscious and for a while wasn't moving his extremities. Everything is fine with Jermaine James of Muir High School. Let's go back up to the booth.
Thanks for that report, Eddie. As Chris Weaver carries the football 5 yards shy of a first down, it'll bring up third down for the Saints.
The Rams, Willie, at least on the play before this last one, committed 7 guys to the line of scrimmage. They must have thought there was going to be a run, and it wasn't, as a matter of fact, but that was a different defensive front for the Rams.
As you take a look at the 3rd and 4 setup, look behind just on the far sideline at the Santa Ana Saints. That is just about their entire roster, their entire contingent that they brought here was in that camera shot. As the give goes to Lenny Cross. Cross tries to get to the 45. It'll all depend on the spot. Can't see the feet, but it looks like they're going to have to bring the chains across for a measurement.
Cross was in motion, and just a simple handoff. Poor tackling by the Rams, and he gets to the outside, but he was met there by a couple of linebackers there.
Well, that was a good stop for the Rams, as it would appear, but not the case, that the Rams appeared to momentarily stop the Saints, but the Saints did get the first down, not by much, might I add. First down and 10 from the 45. Saints in Santa Ana territory. Getting back to the point I was making about the entire contingent, as Chris Weaver again running the football and down the sideline, and he's brought down from behind, and not by much, might I add, as bringing him down 47, Raymond Ignacio. That was a foot race. Weaver, with a lot more speed than I would have given him credit for, blazed down the sideline.
Well, if it wasn't for Raymond Ignacio, that would have been a touchdown, and it was a touchdown-saving tackle by Ignacio. I thought he was out of here, but that may be the difference between 6-3 or 0. Nice run by Weaver, nice cutback. It looked like almost a clip over at the top end of the screen there, and another one, but there was no flag. Now here come Ignacio. He has an angle, but I thought he wasn't going to get him. A shoestring tackle at about the 11.
We'll take a break. Back with more in a moment. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. First down and 10 for the Saints, just outside the 10, so they can, in theory, get a first down without scoring a touchdown. They trail in the game 7-0. Scoreboard not operating, as it's the quarterback, not even a draw, just the quarterback run, as he finds a small seam and gets through it, picks up about 7. But setting up that first down play, watch this, again, end around to Chris Weaver, but watch the outside receiver who throws a block that takes out 2 Millikan Rams right here. 1, 2, down go 2 Rams. Great block from behind, very nearly a clip, but it worked to perfection as it took out 2 Rams. Both appeared on the verge of making a tackle. Second down and about 3 from the 4. The pitch goes back, carrying the football, number 2, Robert Ramirez. And Ramirez does not get much as he picks up a couple yards, but a yard shy of a first down, 2 yards shy of pay dirt. And without the scoreboard operating, one has to wonder how much time is left in this first quarter. Meanwhile, the ball is whistled dead as timeout is called by the Saints. So we'll take a break. Santa Ana want to make good on this scoring opportunity. Back with more in a moment. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. We're in the 4th week of the non-league campaign. In week 1, we saw the Wilson Bruins face Fountain Valley. Bruins getting crushed 44-zip. In week 2, We got to look at the Lakewood Lancers defeating the Mayfair Monsoons in week 3. It was Long Beach Poly taking Muir to task, and here in week 4, it is the Millikan Rams who say they've stopped Santa Ana on this 3rd down in 1 play. And in week 5 next week, we'll go up and see the Jordan Panthers as J-Town takes on Linwood.
And it's been a tough season for J-Town Panthers. I don't think that they have won a game yet. I may be wrong about that. I know they lost in Riverside, and then they played some excellent talent. They lost to Dominguez last week, and I'm not remembering who their third loss is to, but I don't believe that they have won any games yet.
And they lost again last night to Esperanza.
Oh, Esperanza.
We'll take a break. Oh, that's a real tough one. Take a break. 7-zip Millikan.
Is it that time already? Catch all the action of high school football in Charter Communications Game of the Week. Tune into Channel 48B Saturdays at 1 p.m. and Channel 3 Sundays at 11 a.m. and Wednesdays at 3 p.m. This is our 10th year of high school football coverage, and it gets more exciting every year. Brought to you by the Long Beach Unified School District.
Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. The pitch goes back to Ramirez, and he gets hammered at the line. Leyland Haas steps out with the football, but the Saints don't get in. Never have I seen a team inside the 5 use all 3 of their timeouts in an effort to get in the end zone and still not have anything to show for it.
Well, the quarterback just decides he's going to keep the ball, but he is stopped dead, and
Nope.
he does lay over and gets about a yard.
No, he did pitch back. He pitched back and threw a block. He pitched back and threw a block, screening out Gary Davis, but he didn't stop Leyland Haas, who ultimately made the solo tackle and strip. Again, 2nd and goal. The pitch is back to Ramirez again. He buries his helmet in. I know his helmet's in the end zone, but not the football. In fact, the football gets pummeled backwards. I'll agree his helmet was in, but I think the officials made a good call that it was not in the end zone, and by that I mean the football.
It looked like he was in the end zone from here, but then I'm far away. Let's take a look at another, Will.
Remember, it's the football that's got to break the plane, not the body. See, the football's not in. That football's not in.
No, it looked like it was in to me.
Oh.
But the referee is the person that's more important.
And where was his knees? Let's roll that back. Where was his knees? Where is his body stopped? No, let's go back. And his body, when his knee goes down, that's when he is stopped. So he is stopped before the line of scrimmage, without a doubt.
Obviously, because the referee said so. It just looked like it was different from my vantage point, but they still, right now, it looks like it's 4th down or 3rd. 3rd and goal. They have a couple of more shots at it.
But they've had already 5, and they're still not in. Fortunately for them, they got a 1st down at the 2. Now they're facing 3rd and goal. They've had 5 plays from inside the 10. The pitch again goes back to Ramirez. This time he tries the outside. Again, he's not in. What do you do if you're the Saints? You've been trying to crack the line for now 6 plays. You haven't gotten in. Do you send in your kicking team?
No, I wouldn't. I think from a moral point of view, they really need to try to punch this in. Their offensive line needs some spirit and some confidence. They only need about a yard, so I would still go for it. If they don't get it, then they're still holding their team on the 1-yard line.
I agree. For some crazy, insane reason, I agree. 4th down and goal. They've had the football inside the 15. Got a 1st down inside the 2. Now a flag comes down. Delay of game will probably be the call. It is. Now it's 4th and goal from the 6, and I got a feeling the kicking team's coming.
Yeah, I think you have to get the kicking team in there and try to salvage this drive to get at least 3 points. Now, this is the kind of thing, of course, that makes an old coach even older. You use your timeouts, and then you get down there near pay dirt, and then it's a delay of game penalty.
And it makes what's gray if there's anything left on top.
Where they're going to go for it.
They decide to go for it. They sent in what appeared to be an entire new unit. Instead, they will go for it. It's the end around again to Weaver. Weaver gets
nice
knocked
shot
on his wallet at the 2, and that'll do it for the Saints. And talk about a confidence builder for the Rams.
Gary Davis.
Just
nice
like
hit.
a Ram. Put his
Now watch the
horns.
blocking assignments here. Nice block up front. I thought he was going to go in. He didn't. One assist to tackle and a nice tackle by Gary Davis. But number 38 really slowed him down, and that was E.J. Ashby.
Time runs out in the first quarter. E.J. Ashby slowed him down, but I think Weaver's momentum would have brought him forward. But indeed, as you mentioned, number 42, Gary Davis, knocks him on his wallet. And Millikan will have the football when we come back on our coverage of Long Beach High School football. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. You want to talk about breathing room. Right now, the Rams need it, albeit following a great defensive stand. And you want to talk about a whitewash for Santa Ana, as we'll take a look at Millikan very nearly being upended in the end zone. If not for forward momentum, you've got a safety. I believe that was Paul Ayer carrying the football as he gets submarined. Second down and 11. Again, it is Ayer. Oh, no, it's not Ayer. This time, carrying the football, number 20. That would be Kendrick Knighton. But interestingly enough, that defensive stand by the Rams, I would think that the Saints have to be psychologically just decimated after that. They used all their timeouts, got a first down inside the 5, hammered away, could not get in the end zone. If you can't do that from inside the 5, what are you thinking the rest of the time? As Ayer with the football gets the first down, still not down, finally wrestled down, and rather physically so by Juan Ramirez, as Eddie Van Geis has a report.
The wizard of the board at Millikan, when you talk about scoreboards, is this guy right here, Eric Lovett. Eric, I've got to tell you, boy, do I miss our scoreboard tonight. When did you find out it wasn't operating?
We found out about 20 minutes before the game started.
So what do you try to do at this time?
We've got people working on it, trying different things to see if we can make it work by halftime, hopefully.
All right, what is the first thing you look for? What in this kind of electrical
We're
equipment?
looking at the fuses right now, see if that's the problem.
You're looking at the fuses now. You've been doing this kind of work for how many years?
I've been operating the scoreboard for about 5 years now.
And how did that come about? What a lucky job.
Oh, they just kind of found the nearest person to them.
All right, I know Willie's probably getting excited up there about something. We'll go to the booth in just one moment. Eric, what's your prediction? Are we going to have the scoreboard going before the game's done?
We're hoping so, no predictions.
All right, we hope so too. Let's go back up to Willie and Errol.
Eddie, what a tease you are. As Eric Slater makes the grab on the pass from Aguirre. On the question, what do they look for first when the scoreboard goes out? I would imagine stopwatches right before fuses.
Yeah, well, what happened to the old Ebbets Field where people used to put up the cards themselves? This high-tech stuff, I don't know. I don't understand it.
The give goes to Ayer. He picks up a couple. Well, the wizard of the scoreboard
is in question at this point.
Well, the genie of the lamp has been locked away, as we have no lights on the board. No idea how much time is left. All we know is we're in the second quarter and that it's 7-0 Millikan.
The offensive line for the Rams is looking pretty good at this point. This is the first time this unit has been together since the season has begun, and they're a pretty good unit, even though they're a little inexperienced.
And earlier I had mentioned that for Santa Ana, a very small contingent on their sideline. And the point I was going to make is if you had looked at the Millikan sideline a few years back, it would have looked very similar to what Santa Ana looks like now. And quite possibly Mark Miller, the head coach of Santa Ana, is trying to get a copy of whatever book Tony Peralta used to guide his program to where it is now, albeit not yet a playoff contender, or at least a playoff regular. but a program that just a few years ago, not very big in numbers, and possibly second to the doormat status in the Moore League. I think all these years, the one team that's been the Moore League doormat has been Compton, that in the 10 years we've been broadcasting football games, they have not won a single football game, not in league, not out of league. Scary.
We have an injured Knight on the field, and a Saint on the field, and we don't have the number. Prior to that, though, there was a very nice pass by Aguirre off his back foot that was received by Eric Slater, and then a very nice run by Air. So the offensive unit for the Rams have been clicking pretty good.
We'll take a break on that point of Compton. Apparently one win, Centennial, but as I said, it doesn't count. Player shaken up was Ronnie Felice, as watch number 1 get taken out on a block. When you get your receivers blocking, I think that was Kyle Moore, took a shot, 83. To close on that comment of Compton, that win over Centennial this year, my comment regarding the last 9 years, they had not won, and apparently that's correct. But this year, the whole point being that for the first time, Compton might actually be in the mix of teams going into the playoffs out of the Moore League, something we haven't experienced. And that would be shocking news to the remainders from Long Beach that would be vying for those precious few playoff spots.
Compton took Dominguez to the 4th quarter before giving it up with 4 minutes to play.
And right there, that's got to make everyone stand up and shake their heads a little bit, because Dominguez, the defending Division II champs, and a very, very tough team. If Compton can take them that far, it's going to be a tough road to hoe for the likes of Millikan, Jordan, Lakewood, and Wilson. Wilson has 1 win, I believe, against Lusinger. Jordan yet to win a game. Lakewood's only win against Mayfair. Millikan's only win against Warren. Football's loose as the football and air part, and Santa Ana comes up with it. Second fumble recovery for the Saints.
Just a power I run off the I formation for the Rams, but it was a good hit by Santa Ana to shake that ball loose. He was trying to gain more yardage, and it just really kind of came out of hands. I don't know if it was hit or not, but the result was a fumble, the second turnover by the Rams.
It was the football jarred free, as trying to get a few extra yards was Aaron. Robert Ramirez, who plays the tailback position for Santa Ana, is the one who stripped it free. Jose Leon recovered. 1st and 10 for the Saints. Not a bad drive, however, for Millikan as they cross midfield after starting with the football at their own 1. Getting pummeled, Lenny Cross. Pick up nil.
Well, this was a once proud program in the 60s and 70s. Willie, the neighborhood has changed. They don't have as much talent, but you know, this was the high school that the great Isaac Curtis went back in the 60s, who played later for the Cincinnati Bengals. And they had some outstanding running backs in the 60s. I remember when they played Centennial, or not played Centennial, they had, during the time the great Mickey Curitan was running, Santa Ana had an outstanding running back also. So Santa Ana has come on some hard times, but I remember in the 60s and 70s, they had a great football program.
Second down, 11. Give goes up the middle, but actually goes nowhere.
Well, one thing the Rams do have is a good defense. They have an experienced defense. The likes of Javier Alvarez and Taifi Lutu, Lutu Taifi, and they were returnees from last year, all-league performers. They have been in every game that they've played this year. They just have not been able to, the last 2, come up with a victory. But their defense has been stellar.
Sila Matamua, the ball carrier on the last play. He's the lone setback. Man in motion, Weaver. They've run out of this set before. They do it again. Weaver again gets a lead block from his receiver, but the Rams have seen this now 4 times, and they've reacted much better each time.
Well, if you see something 2 or 3 times, you'll make some adjustments is as Weaver comes in motion, and the pursuit by the Rams is pretty good. He's fortunate that the ball was not jarred out of his hands because he didn't have two arms around it.
Continue to roll that if we can. It appeared that shaking up on the play was Gary Davis, and right at the end of the play you can see the players roll on his ankle, and that's what caused him to limp off the field. The punt rolls out of bounds at the 28-yard line. I mentioned Gary Davis limped off the field. Watch the tail end of the play. 42 for the Rams comes in, and watch his right ankle. For some reason, he came up limping, and I think right here at the tail end, he just got his leg stuck. You can see there he's down. Probably just came down a little awkwardly. Rams have it, first down and 10. Got about 50 on their last drive before giving it up. Paul Ayer coughing up the football. The option, Aguirre runs it, gets a first down before going down sideways just beyond the 40. Kind of an awkward tackle.
Aguirre, it's an improvement at quarterback from last year. Aguirre is an athletic quarterback, and he has a strong arm, as we've seen. He can throw the ball, and you saw his athleticism. He is willing to run the football. So that gives another dimension for the Rams at quarterback.
This year's team, very good in terms of teamwork, but I haven't seen any of the talent that, if you go back to our first year, the Andre Borders and so forth, that the Rams had at that time. They had a really good athletic team, but that year's team maybe not as good as this year's team on teamwork. Eddie Van Geist has a report from down on the field.
The great running back for the Millikan Rams is DeAndre Grant. DeAndre's got his uniform on, but DeAndre's not running tonight. DeAndre, tell us about it. How come you're not out there?
Last week's game, unsportsmanlike conduct, it was a messed up call by the refs.
I've heard that. I've talked to a few players, and they said we didn't see anything wrong. Why'd he pick on you?
I guess because the game got heated. Both teams was going at it. It was always a real good game, but...
You know, this DeAndre is such a powerful running back, and I'm just curious, when you watch football, college, and then when you watch the NFL on Sundays, is there one running back that you would like to emulate?
Yes, Napoleon Kaufman.
Napoleon Kaufman, he's your man.
Yep.
All right, well, listen, Napoleon Jr., you better get out there. Long Beach has a lot of great running backs, but a similarity. Last week, it was DeAndre Grant on sportsmanlike conduct, not playing tonight. And last night, it was Poly's Herman Ho Ching. He won't be playing in the big game against Dominguez. Let's go back upstairs.
Kyle Moore makes the grab in stride. That was as good a pass as I think we've seen Aguirre throw, as he hit him right on the numbers in stride. And then Moore stays on his feet, makes the fine spin move, stays in bounds, and gets a couple bonus yards. Nice pass.
Nice pass, and it got there right in the center of the field. He had time to throw the football, and that's very, very important.
Watch the tail end of the play as he looks like he gets knocked out of bounds, but Moore able to use the body of the Santa Ana tackler to stay in bounds for just a few moments. Gain a couple extra yards. He's out of bounds at the 35 of Santa Ana. The option for the Rams, Aguirre pitches it back to Ayer. Kind of I don't know if that's such a smart pass on the part of Aguirre, but
well, there may be a reason why he pitched that. Maybe he didn't want to get hit like the other guy got hit.
Well, there was nobody near either of them.
Right, Gary was hit pretty good on the 5-yard line when they scored their first touchdown. Maybe he said, you take the punishment now.
Now the hurry-up offense for the Rams, and now is it a timeout or a flag? Let's see if maybe they're just trying to make sure that everyone's set. The hurry-up offense catches the officiating crew needing to make some checks. Make sure that all the right players are in all the right positions. The give to Ayer. Ayer gets stacked up immediately. Best defensive surge in the game by Santa Ana as they stuff Ayer just inside the 30.
Coach Mike Miller was at Rancho Los Amitos in 1987 when they were in the CIF finals. And as we look at Coach Tony Peralta building this program to respectability in the last few years. This is his 4th year at Millikan. And they've shown him a lot of support, the administration has, and stuck with him during the bad times.
But I think everyone anticipated there being some lean times before things got turned around. And Peralta built it for the long haul, which I think is what the difference was, is in building it. He didn't build it for the short term. He built it for the long haul, and that's why we're seeing things turn around for Millikan. First down for the Rams.
Well, they were headed to the playoffs, as I said at the top of the show, Willie, and it was a fumble down on around the 7-yard line against Jordan last year, and that dashed them out of the playoffs. But they'll be knocking on the door this year. I think those playoff teams are up for the grabs in the Moore League.
Well, since we've all but conceded the Moore League title to the Pauley Jackrabbits, that's 5 teams playing for 2 playoff spots.
Well, I don't concede anything. The Jackrabbits at least seem to be the most talented, but weird things can happen in the Moore League as we see a nice tackle here by the Santa Ana Saints.
Very close to fumbling was there, as he had the football pitched between his elbow and his ribs. Very fortunate to hold on. Well, you being the magnanimous commentator that you are, not conceding anything. After 10 years, I've seen nothing but Pauley in the winner's circle, so I'm not surprised here. Is the pass complete, or is it? Indeed, they'll call it a catch, as making the grab was Mark Paxton, so close to being out of bounds, I wasn't sure he was in bounds. Michael
Aguirre is a fine passer. He has not had the protection, according to the coaching staff, that he is enjoying tonight. He has not been sacked, but in the previous games, he's had to scramble for his very life in order to avoid being sacked. But tonight, he's had better protection. He has a better offensive line, the original unit that they had wanted at the beginning of the season, and he has shown his talent, not only throwing the football, but breaking down the defense and running it.
3rd down and 5. Big situation here for the Rams and Michael Aguirre. One back in the backfield, it's air. Man in motion. As Aguirre in trouble from the get-go, he's wrapped up and brought down from behind. Big play for Aldo Garcia and Santa Ana. That pushes the Rams out of field goal range. They'll probably have to go for it on 4th down.
He did not get blocked at all. It was a missed assignment by the offensive line for the Rams, and he came in unmolested and sacked the quarterback. We were just talking about the protection, and now I shouldn't have said anything.
Jinxed from the start.
I'll get some letters about that.
4th down and 12 for the Rams. They have to go for it. It's too far for a field goal. It would be a 42-yard effort and a punt. If it goes out of the back of the end zone, it's a 6-yard punt. The blitz gets picked up momentarily, but just momentarily, as the Saints stiffen defensively, force the Rams to punt, or excuse me, to turn the ball over on downs. They're not punting, it's over.
Well, there's been some missed assignments on the offensive line by the Rams, and that is what happens when your team is not synchronized. These guys have not been playing together very often. As we see again, some real pressure coming in, almost a hole there. You try to protect your quarterback the best you can, and he gets rocked at the end, and his helmet comes off. He'll remember that.
7-0 Millikan. Big defensive series by the Rams kept the Saints off the board. The Saints apparently they're missing somebody, because the Saint players were waving for somebody. They've got 11, I think, a quick count, or maybe not. Now, number 12 joins them on the field. That would be Luis Curiel. Gee, that's the quarterback. That might be a missing position player.
I think that's a pretty important position on the field.
They couldn't even call a play. No wonder they were waving for him. And one player does come out. That would be the fullback, Matamua. They had 11 guys, just none of them were the quarterback. 1st and 15. Clock is ticking somewhere. Curiel runs, gets dropped just about the line of scrimmage. And I believe, has time run out? We'll have to check as the officials have whistled the ball dead. They're saying timeout Millikan. So the Rams trying to conserve whatever time is left on whatever clock. They'll call a timeout and we'll take a break. 7-6 Rams. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. Movement by the Saints. And that'll be 5 against the Saints if the officiating crew agrees with me. And they do. So it'll be 5 against Santa Ana. 2nd down and 20 coming up.
And this is one of several penalties that are stacking up against the Santa Ana Saints. And they can ill afford, any team can ill afford to have penalties, but a young, struggling team shows a lack of concentration. And I'm sure the coaching staff will let them know that during practice, but they are deep in their own territory, and they're down 7-0. They need to come up with something positive here as we see the scoreboard trying to light up.
Well, bulbs are on, and the clock is ticking, although nowhere near the equivalent of what is on the field in terms of an umpire's stopwatch. And Ram coaches are calling for a timeout. Message got there somewhat delayed, but the clock stopped sometime before halftime, and we'll go ahead and take a break ourselves. 7-0 in favor of Millikan. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage as down goes Curiel, making the sack, Carl Cabrera, and there can't be much time left in the half as Curiel dropping back. Watch Cabrera, all wrapped up. The scoreboard, well, the lights are on. Some of the numbers correct, not many. So whatever time is left, we'll guesstimate. Santa Ana has no timeouts left. They used them all on the scoring drive that came up empty when they had it inside the 15, ultimately getting a 1st down and goal, then coming up empty. And now, apparently 8 to 10 seconds, if we've counted all of Dave Schauber's fingers as he's coming off the field. So, give or take a few ticks, it is 4th down and 25 for Santa Ana. They're punting. Again, it's a bad snap. This time, out of the end zone. There was the bad snap that led to the 2-play drive and a touchdown for Millikan in the 1st quarter. And now, direct results as the snap right out of the back of the end zone, tack on another 2. And we'll take a break as the Saints will be forced to free kick to the Rams, and they'll get another shot. It's not over yet.
We're going to kick it on the ground.
Let's take a look at the bad snap. That's not even close.
Davis!
Whoa, those special teams.
Well, let's not take a break because they're ready to kick right here and now. As producer director Rob Meckhamson, my apologies. But with as little time left on the clock as there is, if we took a break, it might be halftime already by the time we come back.
I'm missing a guy. Come here.
It's a free kick. The Saints choose to kick it off the tee. I would not think they're going to onside it. A squib kick would be more likely. Either way, the Rams will get excellent field position, but will they get any time? That's the real question. Rams might be better off taking a knee unless it's a kick like this deep. Leyland Haas picks it up. He goes down at the 44. Has time run out. The time will stop, or the clock will stop on the change of possession. Not much time ticked. They will start it, however. I'm not sure if they start it at the ready for play signal or wait till the first snap after the change of possession. It looks like they'll start it on the play. And if Dave Schauber to be believed, this should be the final play of the first half. Dave Schauber, former head coach here at Millikan, acts as the trainer. Certainly one to be believed. As Eric Slater, the grab, all by himself down the sideline. Big gainer to the 25. But is there time? If there's time, the Rams are very fortunate to have judiciously used their timeouts.
Aguirre was provided with good protection that time and a nicely thrown ball. Why is the guy all open in the flat out there on the left, but he rumbles down the sideline and there still must be a few seconds left.
And the clock stopped because Slater was knocked out of bounds. The clock running on the scoreboard, but that's immaterial. They're probably checking to see if it's working. And after the out-of-bounds play, clock stopped. It looks like we'll have a delay of game, or will we? Without a clock on the scoreboard, it's kind of hard to tell. The Saints want it to be halftime. Heck, they're almost halfway off the field. Apparently it is halftime. Apparently they called them down, not out of bounds. The chains moved for the first down, then started again when it was placed ready for play. Kind of hard to believe. I thought he was out of bounds, but
well, it's really confusing when you don't have a clock. It appears it's 9-0 on our scoreboard.
It is.
That's a correct score, but not the time.
Well, at 9-0, Millikan fortunate that the Saints special teams have had a bad night. 2 snaps over the punter's head. One turns into a 2-play touchdown drive. The second goes directly out of the back of the end zone and works as a safety. And that is the result, a 9-0 lead for the Millikan Rams.
And the Saints have had their opportunity. They were on the 1-goal line with 5 or 6 chances to score, and they did not score, which is, from a psychological standpoint, demoralizing.
Well, you want to talk about demoralizing. How about that drive for Santa Ana that ended at the 1-yard line of Millikan after having first down and goal from inside the 2, and then after 4 plays coming up empty. That indeed demoralizing. Meanwhile, Eddie Van Geist down on the field trying to get a halftime interview, and I'm sure Eddie White Shoes Van Geist, for the tennis shoes he's wearing on the somewhat slick and moist football field, trying to run down Tony Peralta, the head coach of the Rams. I don't think he's going to get him, as Coach Peralta does not seem too happy, and he's heading into the halftime locker room with an entourage, but I'm sure Eddie has his own viewpoint, and he'd be more than happy to tell us.
Well, he's not too happy. I mean, his team is up 9-0, but he felt like they could have been executing well tonight, but they haven't. And it's something he emphasized to me before the game.
Let's go down to Eddie.
Willie and Errol, I just spoke to Coach Mark Miller of the Saints. He was disgusted walking off the field, but he was kind enough to give me a few words. He said, you know what, it changes we have to make in a ball game in the second half. He said, if we don't make any mistakes, he said, right now we haven't even been able to snap the ball on the punt. If we could do that, we'd be in a better situation. He looked at me one more time, shook his head. He said, a lot of sophomores, we could be down by 5 touchdowns. We're happy we're only down by 9 points. You know what, for these Saints from Santa Ana, though, to win this ball game, it might take some divine intervention. Let's go back upstairs to Willie and Errol.
Well, what do you think about that comment, Mr. Padilla?
Well, indeed, it would take divine intervention as the Rams lead it 9-0, thanks in part to the Saints' lack of snapping ability on the punting team. We'll be back. My name's Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker, Eddie Van Geist, the rest of our Charter Communications sports crew, led by producer director Rob Mickelson. Back with second half action in just a moment. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football as the football lies flat on the grass. Ken Caceres will go back and re-tee it up. And we'll get it underway. 9-0 Millikan Rams as we've got the 0-3 Saints, the 1-2 Rams, and we've got a scoreboard, and we're ready to go. This is Weaver from the 11 to the 25, gets outside to the 40. Tell you what, this kid, big time wheels. First down and 10 for the Saints as they get a good return out to the 38. And I'm not sure what exactly is going on up here in the press box, but it looks like we're going to have a change in our roster as the give, actually it's the quarterback taking it on his own and not getting much. But joining me now up in the booth for a surprise engagement, Eddie Van Geis. And
yeah, the other half of the E team over here, you know what I mean? An Errol and an Eddie here, bud. What happened here?
Well, Errol has apparently gone down to the sideline, and he's going to make a go of it down to the field.
You know what?
Then again, I don't know of anyone who has more contacts in the Long Beach area than Errol Parker, so getting sideline interviews will not be a problem.
No, not at all. And Errol knows every aspect. When you talk about sports in Long Beach, he can cover it all.
I'm sure there's a few raised eyebrows on that sideline. Errol, if he's at the game and he's with us, he's usually up here with me. As it's a delay, the football's loose. I think, well, the Rams say they've got it. It appeared almost certainly that the Saints had gotten it back, but instead, picking it up for Millikan was number 57. That would be Javier Alvarez. Wow, Alvarez came up with it. It looked like one of the Saints had not only better position, but had already fallen on it.
Willie, it looks like the second half starting out. The first half, there were a few turnovers, and here we start early in the second half with a turnover.
Ironically, it was the Rams turning it over as they fumbled at least twice. But more costly were the mistakes by the Saints as a busted play would appear. However, Aguirre gets to about the 20 and would have a first down. That play, not one that was drawn up in the playbook, but very effective nevertheless.
Sweeping on the left side, a nice move here. And I'm sure that Tony Peralta, he said earlier that, he said, you know what? He said, we've beaten ourselves the last two games, and I'm sure tonight that they don't want a tight victory. I think Coach Peralta, for momentum the rest of the year, a lot of people say that momentum is key when you talk about adolescence in sports. I think he wants a big win tonight, Willie.
Well, ideally, he'd like a big win, but a tight win will do. First down and 10 for the Rams. No sense getting picky as the give goes to Air. Air gets to the 17, tries to drive the pile, but goes nowhere. He's brought down after a pickup of 3.
He didn't have much room to go up the middle, just a couple of yards. Everybody stacked up on top of him, plugged up the middle, nowhere to go.
Clock ticking, and that's news.
And that's good news. You know that? I was lost on the sideline without that scoreboard. I saw more heads looking that way and not seeing anything for most of the first half.
It's your beacon, your North Star, so to speak.
No beak jokes, okay?
Second down, 7. It's Air brought down for a loss of yardage back to the original line of scrimmage for this series, so it'll be third down and 10. Aguirre will have to put it up, it would appear. Ken Caceres loosening up his right leg for what would be a field goal attempt. That would be coming up a little empty, though. That would only give the Rams a 12-0 lead. And as it is, the Saints are going to need 2 scores.
And I'll tell you, I know that there was a heated discussion in the Saints locker room at halftime, just from what Coach Mark Miller told me as he was leaving the field.
Third down, 9. Rams need to get to the 10. Man in motion. Aguirre in trouble, gets away, stays on his feet, but is only able to pick up a yard, avoids the sack by picking up some yardage, but he doesn't get enough. It'll bring up 4th down, and the kicking team this is the play once again as Aguirre is able to break free once, but that's it.
Willie, you've got to say that, you know what, on the Saints tonight, though, I've seen some good pursuit when you talk defensively. These kids can move.
They can move, they can chase. Catching has been the problem. Injured player on the field, one of the Saints go down. 10:03 left, 3rd quarter. And we would imagine we'll be taking a break as they check on the injured Saint. 9-0 in favor of the Rams, looking to tack on a field goal. We'll take a break. Back with more in a moment. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. It's going to be quite a race, Eddie, for the 2 remaining playoff spots. And what I mean by that is many of the experts and even myself, not one of the experts, have conceded the Moore League title to the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits based on what they've done this season as being taken off the field Brian Thacker, and he's coming off the field under his own power. That's good news. But after the Jackrabbits, you've got the 5 other schools, the 4 Long Beach schools, Millikan, Wilson, Jordan, Lakewood, and then Compton. Compton, a much better team this year, having won their first game in 10 years by defeating Centennial earlier this season, taking Dominguez down to the wire in their season opener. So Compton, needless to say, going to be a threat. Jordan has not won a game, but they played a very, very tough schedule. In fact, losing yesterday to Esperanza, a very tough opponent. Wilson, only 1 win against Lusinger, who lost to Mayfair this year, the team that Lakewood beat. As Caceres says it's good, but the officials say no.
Yeah, wide
no
left,
good.
Willie. It looked like it went wide left.
Well, field goal attempt, no good, and it remains 9-0 in favor of the Rams. I don't know if we'll be able to see how close it got to the uprights. It was a line drive kick. It looked foul, or out of at least wide left. Foul ball.
Yeah, foul ball. You're right. We're in the playoffs right now, in the National League and American League Series, and right here we had a foul ball also on that field goal attempt by Caceres. I agree with you, Willie. From what we've seen, it appears that the king will remain on the throne in high school football this year. Poly High looks real good.
In fact, during our 10 years of coverage of the Moore League, it has been Poly on top. A few years they've shared the title, a couple with Jordan and once with Wilson, I believe. But at no other time have their throne aspirations ever been questioned. And this year, I think there's no question they are head and shoulders above the rest of the pack. But the real question is, out of the remaining 5 teams, is who's going to have the medal to earn those remaining 2 playoff spots? It seems that while the competitive level may not be as high as that of Poly, it's going to be right about the same level when you factor in Compton and the other 4 Long Beach schools.
You're saying it's going to be a good battle for second place? Is that what you're saying?
It's going to be a great race for second. It is 1st down and 15 for the Saints as they are inside their own 15. Not much on the give, and a very rarely sane statement. Let's get a report from Errol Parker.
You just saw Coach Tom Morgan talking to his offensive line, telling them that they were not doing the job, and Coach Peralta came over and was talking to those guys. He felt like the quarterback is running for his life, and I think he's right. Back up to you guys.
Thank you very much, Errol. I figured out why he went down. He wanted to hold the mic. I hold the mic in the pregame and the postgame. You hold the mic on the reports. He wanted to hold the mic.
Hey, people mistake Errol and Eddie all the time. You remember last year a couple of young men came up and said, "That's Errol Parker over there." I said, "No, I'm Eddie." And the guy says, "Yeah, I can tell the difference." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I got the curly hair."
I was going to say the exact same thing. It is 2nd down, a little better than 13, call it 14. Saints with the football, pitch it back. The gift goes to Ramirez, and somewhere during that run, he got submarined. It was Alfred Durr who did the submarining, as Robert Ramirez, now you see him, now you don't.
You know, and I've seen him from ground level. It looks like he's got some speed, that kid. But we're aware it's going to be a long year probably for the Santa Ana Saints. I mean, they want to develop this year. They had a tough year last year. It's only the second year for Coach Mark Miller. And he wants these kids, many of them who are sophomores, it's going to be sort of a baptism by fire.
And he could do no wrong by following the path that Tony Peralta did in building the Millikan program. Very similar the first couple of years for both programs in terms of new head coaches. Coach Peralta's Millikan Rams, when he first took over, hard times at first, but he built the program back up, not only in terms of the way he wanted in the character of his players, but also the numbers. Look at the sideline for the Millikan Rams, at least double the amount of players that we saw maybe 4 years ago. Look at the Saints sideline, that's what we saw 4 years ago. And so Mark Miller, in about the situation Coach Peralta found himself in just a few years back. 4th down and a yard for the Saints. And here comes what has been the bugaboo for the Saints thus far in this game, and that is the punting team. 2 snaps over the head of the punter. This time he nearly rolls it, but it ends up in the hands of the kicker, and the punter ends up on his wallet, but there is no flag as Carl Cabrera made contact, but I'm guessing the officials say he was blocked. I don't know if we'll see it on the replay.
Yeah, and Kyle Moore called for a fair catch on that one. Maybe we will see that.
Well, I think down the press box a bit is one of the coaches for Santa Ana who could not believe there was not a flag. When your punter is down on his wallet, usually you're expecting a flag next to him.
Millikan right now, great field position, the 35-yard line.
They need to extend their lead. They lead at 9-zip. Have had a couple opportunities carrying the football. Kendrick Knighton. With the Rams thus far offensively, we've seen them gaining big chunks of yardage, but sustaining a drive has really been the problem. Their only touchdown came on that 2-play touchdown drive following the first bad snap on a punt by the Saints. Of course, the second bad snap went out of the end zone late in the first half for a safety.
I'm waiting to see an air show.
Waiting for something. As the pass bobbled, caught, and then Justin Peterson brought down for a loss. And it's a good thing he held on because it was questionable whether or not that pass was a lateral or a forward pass. If that's a lateral and he doesn't hold on, hey, the football's loose.
Yeah, you're right. I was wondering the same thing, Willie. I thought that it might have been a lateral. Now you can see 3rd down. They're going to have about 7 yards to go. I know the Rams would like to get off quickly here in this second half.
There are the Millikan Ram cheerleaders, ostensibly the Embraceable U's.
Yep. That is Jennifer, by the way. I interviewed her last year. I just thought I'd mention that.
Maybe that's why you're up here.
Maybe that's why Arrow went down there.
3rd and 7 as the Rams will need to get to the 45. Timeout on the field. Coach Peralta, headphones and all, he's out there. And we'll take a break. 9-zip. His Rams lead it. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. We're on the campus of Millikan High School. The Rams playing host to the Saints. Man in motion, Mark Wells. Roll to his left for Aguirre. Aguirre trying to buy some time. Gets a block, but gets wrapped up just beyond the 40. And it'll be a punting situation, but first let's get a report from Errol Parker.
A little behind-the-scenes action. Coach Matt Shalver is here, and he's got a special guy he wants you to introduce you to.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce to you Eric Donahoe. Donahoe is one of our volunteer student trainers. His parents come out and support our program and watch him here in action. Eric, you'd like to say something?
You enjoying the game?
Yeah, I'm enjoying the Millikan Rams game this year.
That's right. It's one of our
last year.
Okay. He's one of our bigger supporters, and he keeps all our boys watered and ready to go for action.
He's the water boy.
That's right.
Yeah, I have fun at the football game working with them
all the time.
All the time.
Okay, Eric, thank you, and we're a really big part of Ram football, and we appreciate having you with us.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you for that report, Errol. Dave Schauber. And that young man, I hear that young man also does a great job in selling tickets because he brings his parents, his grandparents. That kid's selling out a portion.
And Willie and his great-grandparents. It's really a family affair. I had the pleasure of meeting Eric Donahoe, and they don't miss a game. They're very proud of that young man's involvement with the Millikan team. And how many people can say that every game you have your parents, your grandparents, and your great-grandparents? It's pretty unique and it's wonderful.
Every program needs a family like that support.
That's for sure. That's for sure. I think that's what society needs more of.
I think this next generation needs the support of generations preceding them, as this young man has.
Correct.
First down and 10 for the Saints. Again with the football. Well, momentarily at least, as Cross gets the one hopper. I wonder if that kid plays shortstop, is Lenny Cross. Did a nice job in fielding that. One thing about a football with its odd shape, not often does it take a true bounce. And for Lenny Cross, very fortunately, it did.
Yeah, it did, that's for sure. They could have been in big trouble. Millikan could have had a touchdown or recovered the ball and had a score very, very quickly. So that was one good bounce for the Santa Ana Saints.
Timeout called by the Saints, and we'll take, before we take a break, take a look at the one hopper. But as I mentioned, it's the trueness of the bounce.
How often does a football do that, Willie? We've seen some crazy bounces. That was a perfect bounce for number 10 Cross of Santa Ana.
And maybe in a way that's what makes it crazy. Timeout on the field with 5:39 left in this third quarter. Rams lead it 9-zip. Hi folks, welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. Week number 4 of the non-league campaign. Just a couple more before the Moore League season begins. And once again, Charter Communications will be there to follow all the action. It's a double reverse. And once again, it is the speedster with the football, number 80, Chris Weaver. Weaver gets the first down on 2nd and 17. And remember earlier when he picked up about 40 down the sideline and set up the Saints inside the 15, he's got to be the fastest Saint.
I like this. Look at this, Willie. I mean, this is gutsy. They're deep in their own territory. Look at this. I like this reverse. And number 80, the kid's got some wheels. Weaver. He looks good. We've got a player down on the field. But look at this. Nice move right there.
Alfred Durr finally up to make the tackle, but he's got to go all the way across the field to make that tackle. Meanwhile, we've got a player down on the field, one of the Saints. So with 5:28 on the scoreboard and a 9-0 lead for Millikan. I guess we'll keep it right here for the time being. Well, Long Beach Poly, who we've been talking about, defeating the 2 LA City schools, Carson and Banning, and oddly enough, being the visiting team in their home stadium, then being the home team at Wilson's home field when they hosted Muir and defeated a very tough team from Muir High School. And then yesterday defeated Fontana at Fontana. Big win for Poly. And I'm just trying to put a little evidence as to my comments as to why they're the top team in the Moore League. We'll take a break. 9-zip, Millikan. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. And just moments after seeing a teammate carted off and into an ambulance, the Saints nearly fumble the football.
Immediately fumble the ball, and to their luck, they recovered it, Willie.
Fortuitously, indeed, they once again reacquire possession. Remember, prior to the player being taken off the field, Chris Weaver ran for a first down. And this is Edson Godinez, one of the offensive linemen who was injured on that first down run by Weaver. And it was really a difficult thing to see him getting injured. Apparently, he had an injury to a leg and quite possibly ran up and down the spine, which would explain the headboard that his helmet was taped to. Usually you don't think it's, in the spine area once they've taken the helmet off, and the helmet remained on his head throughout. And this is the play. You'll have to watch the left side of your screen is number 50 who gets injured. In fact, he was just in your screen there. And watch the end around. Somewhere in this mix down there does Godinez go down, and we've got a report down on the field from Errol Parker.
Willie, behind me is the emergency vehicle taking Edson Godinez to the community hospital for precautionary reasons. It's probably a minor neck injury. He was out maybe for 30 seconds, but he's okay. His parents have been notified. They're going to take him to community hospital. He should be okay, but we've had a lot of those kinds of injuries in the past, and that's just football. Back up to you, Willie.
So to speak, an oxymoron when you say a minor neck injury. And I think every neck injury is something that deserves
something to worry about.
Certainly proper scrutiny is required. And as I mentioned, it's an oxymoron whenever you say a minor neck injury. 3rd down and 13.
Well, there's nothing scarier than when you talk about a spinal injury, a neck injury, and when they take the precautions of stabilizing those parts of the body. Last week, Dr. Feldman from Poly, the consulting physician, you should have seen, Willie, how long he held the helmet perfectly still of the young man from your high school. His total concern was no movement in that neck area. So let's hope this young man, Godinez, that things work out as well as they did for Jermaine James last week, the Muir player.
Well, I love the game of football, but my 5-year-old son, Matthew, the sport he plays requires a glove on one hand. As the pass complete and able to squirt free for a 1st down is Juan Ramirez.
Nice catch, good hands there, Willie. I like that. He went up, and that's one of the better things we've seen from the Saints offense this evening. There's a look at the Millikan cheerleaders, always ready to ham it up on our high school football coverage.
That last play, Ramirez showed me a lot of desire as well, as not only did he make the grab, and a difficult grab indeed, as he really set himself up for a big hit, but once he made the grab, it seemed that he knew where he had to go for a 1st down, because he was able to drive just enough to get that 1st down. Football at the 43 of Santa Ana. They've got the football, 2.5 minutes left. And down goes their quarterback, Luis Curiel. Curiel, who's had a rough time of things. When he's dropped back to pass, he hasn't had a whole lot of time.
Yeah, no time at all. And you know what? I know that you and Errol probably mentioned it earlier, but it's quite obvious when you look at the TV screen, or if you're here watching the game at the stadium, the difference in size between the line of Millikan and the linemen from the Santa Ana Saints. There is a discrepancy there.
We hadn't mentioned that. I talked about the size of the rosters, but indeed, your illustration correct. In fact, just last week when I was watching the Poly players walk out, I don't think there was one kid smaller than me, and you know, I'm a 30-year-old man. Those kids are some big kids over there, and these kids are right on par with that. The end around.
It worked once, but it didn't work this time, Willie. Number 80 gets stuck in the backfield. That is Chris Weaver of the Santa Ana Saints, and they're going to that well maybe a little bit too often.
Well, there's that saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And the Millikan defense not getting fooled twice, as the double reverse to Weaver. Hanging on momentarily was Steiner Falpusa, and then the rest of the gang's all here. Oh my. I believe it was Durer who put the final nail in the coffin, so to speak.
Well, now they're in a passing situation, Willie. 3rd and 21.
Well, 3rd and 21. You think it's a passing down? As Curiel going up top, and he had a man, but the receiver, Juan Ramirez, hadn't turned around yet. And then a flag comes down near the tail end of the play. Could it be
I wonder if I saw a late
contact?
I don't know if I saw a late face mask or something. I mean, I don't know. It was a late flag.
It could be either an unsportsmanlike conduct, obviously not a pass interference, but an unsportsmanlike conduct. There could have been some contact prior to the pass downfield. It's a dead ball foul, so it is a personal foul. It was after the pass, so you would figure it's going to be 4th and 7. It's not an automatic 1st down. It is a personal foul. So it would bring up 4th and 7.
And it was Juan Ramirez, number 88, the fellow who did a nice job just a little while ago hauling the ball in. As you said, could have got stuck real well when he went up in the air for that. And so here you have it now.
Now 4th and 7 from inside their own territory. I'm not sure the Saints know that it's 4th down. I think they were thinking they'd get an automatic first or maybe even replay the down. They should be punting here. They give up the football here. They're giving the Rams excellent field position.
And we've got a whole quarter to go, and they're only down 9-zip.
That's my point. There is less than a minute left, 47.6, in one of the few football stadiums with a 1/10 of a second slot on their scoreboard. Roll back by Curiel. He's in trouble. Down he goes. It'll be first down for the Rams at the 34, 35-yard line. Big boo-boo for the Saints.
Indeed, that is. That is not the decision that I would have gone with either, Willie. And right now, Millikan loves this because a touchdown now and about a quarter to go. This could be the one that puts the final nail in the coffin. If they can come up with 7 here, make it a 16-point lead, they're in good shape. Meanwhile, before this, a touchdown and a field goal would have given the Saints the lead.
You know, you can go to a booster club meeting and explain away mistakes by the players, but when the coaches make a glaring mistake like that, that one's the one that's hard to explain.
No room there. You saw Millikan go up the middle, and I got to say that these kids are doing a fine job doing some tackling. I mean, Millikan right now, I would have thought that Millikan would have probably scored a few more points against the Saints. I know one thing, they missed DeAndre Grant big time. I think that young man would have had some fun running tonight.
I would agree 100%. As Aguirre running out of time as we are here in the third quarter as the clock ticks away. We have reached the end of the third. 9-0. The Rams lead it over the Saints. The Rams continue to come up empty and given opportunities, but they'll have the football when we come back as we watch Aguirre trying to make time. Can't do that as the Saints converge. We're now at the end of 3. We'll be back with fourth quarter in just a moment. Hi folks, welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. Week 4 of the non-league campaign, and we're featuring the Millikan Rams this week as they play host to Santa Ana Saints. The pass complete on the far side. Mark Wells with the reception. He gets a big chunk of that yardage back on the third down play, but it will set up a fourth down and short.
I like that setup, Willie. They had a couple of wide receivers, and they put Wells in motion, and I like this kind of action. I like to see a lot of movement on the offense. I just don't like to see the usual setup. Show me some creativity. I like that kind of thing. I think it can play on the minds of high school defenses.
Well, the player who just made the grab coming out, apparently Rams figuring they can go to the Wells too often.
Not gonna be pretty.
As fourth down and a couple for the Rams. Now here is a good situation to go for it on fourth down. The give will go to Paul Ayer. He won't get the first down as he's stymied at the 27. But let me try and explain the difference here. From the 27-yard line, a field goal would be one of 44 yards. Very few NFL kickers are automatic from that distance. Even fewer at the college level, very few at the high school level.
Indeed, and they were in the territory, Millikan, of Santa Ana, and that was not the situation just a while ago.
Furthermore, had they punted from the 27, if that punt should go out of the go beyond the goal line and become a touchback, that means the football comes to the 20, making it a net 7-yard punt. So you don't want to punt it. You can't kick a field goal unless you've got a kid with a booming leg. So going for it on fourth, 2 or 3 is still a no-brainer. You got to go for it.
Meanwhile, the Saints need some heavenly help right now, fourth quarter.
Pitch back, flag goes down. It could be a face mask as it came in from the referee from far behind after the tackle made. It is going to be a face mask. Saw it from here.
Your eyes are good, I'll say that, Padilla. After 10 years of working with Errol, your eyes work very well. You eat your carrots, young man.
I'm eating something. As the pitch back, Jose Leon wrapped up right there at the tail end of the play. It was number 91, Tim English. And that penalty will give the Saints a first down.
And Willie, this is one thing that Millikan and Tony Peralta do not need. If a coach is going to get furious, you're ahead only 9-0 at home in the fourth quarter. That is a major mistake.
And remember, all those Rams points courtesy of 2 bad snaps on the punts by the Saints. 1 bad snap in the first quarter gave the Rams possession at about the 15-yard line. They would score in 2 plays. Then late in the second quarter, the second bad snap on a punt went out of the back of the end zone for a safety. So if it weren't for those 2 bad snaps, we could be in a scoreless battle.
That time, Curiel had lots of time, Willie. He had all day to throw the ball, and he had a receiver open, and he threw it right in the dirt. Take a look at this. Here it is, the replay. Curiel has all day to look at a receiver. He goes towards the left side, winds up, cranks it up, and it's going in the dirt. Look at this. Watch this.
Threw it behind his receiver as well.
Yeah.
That might account more for the pass in the dirt. He just took too long. That pass, that one was straight in the dirt.
And number 10 was breaking towards the middle of the field wide open. And Curiel, to me, doesn't appear to have strong enough arm to get it downfield. Not too far.
And there could be a paralysis of analysis because he's taking a long time to deliver the ball. And by then, it's just a hair too late.
Oh, you wizard with words, you.
It's a scary thought. 3rd down and 10 for the Saints. By passing the football, they are at least doing one thing to their own advantage. That is stopping the clock. But to do that, the passes have to be incomplete. 3rd and 10. They'll need to get into Ram territory to about the 48. Curiel from the shotgun. Downfield, it could be almost intercepted.
Would have been if 2 Ram players did not collide. That was a guaranteed interception. That time Santa Ana liked it. They lined up 4 receivers. Why not? They sent the whole house downfield. And again, I just saw that not enough arm on the part of the quarterback that time, and it very well could have been a Millikan interception had a couple of Millikan defenders not collided.
4th and 10. Not long ago, it was 4th and about 6 from about the same portion of the field, and the Saints decided to go for it then. What I'm believing was a mistake after a penalty had been called, thinking that it was either a repeat of the downs or that it would give them an automatic first down. Neither was the case, and they gave up the ball on downs when they came up short. After 2 bad snaps, the last 2 snaps on punts have been good ones, and this punt, indeed a good one, getting the football inside the 20.
Yeah, Millikan will be starting from their own 18-yard line. So now it's up to the Santa Ana Saints to hold Millikan, and I'm sure they're thinking even more favorably, and that would be, we need a turnover down here on this end of the field.
Well, of course, they have to get it at least twice to score twice, which is what their needs are, trailing 9-zip. Even best case scenario, a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, only get them 8. Yeah, so they'll have to have it at least twice.
And the one thing we can say that after 3 quarters, it hasn't been easy for anybody to score this evening.
A block in the back called against
just me.
Santa Ana. Why the punting team needs to be delivering an illegal use of hands or block kind of amazes me. But let's get a report from Errol Parker.
Saw the defensive unit being talked to by defensive coordinator Mickey Dixon, and he's proud of his guys because they're shutting them out. He's concerned that they're 1 play away from getting back in this football game, but he thinks they can hold them. Back up to you, Willie.
Thank you, Errol. As the give goes to Kendrick Knighton, and Knighton gets a first down, a little bit more down the sideline. Kendrick Knighton. Nice run.
That was a nice run on the right side, and picked up a good number of yards, moving the ball very close to midfield. I'm sure that makes Coach Peralta very, very happy. Let's get the ball away from our end of the field, get it towards the middle of the field, and then we can start thinking about maybe putting some more points on the board.
Well, the Rams have had no problems moving the football between the 30s. It's getting to the red zone and eventually into the end zone that has been a problem, only scoring that 1 touchdown when they were handed the football virtually inside the 15-yard line of Santa Ana. 10:48 left. Again, It is Knighton, and he picks up 4. Rams' strategy here, and oh boy, wouldn't they like to have DeAndre Grant, is to run the football, work some time off the clock, improve their field position so that even if they have to give up the football, although this hurry-up offense is totally contrary to what their needs are, as Paul Ayer carries the football and gets a first down. The one advantage of the hurry-up offense is not in terms of running a bunch of plays in less time, but to keep the defense from changing its personnel.
Willie, I'd like to mention something about that Paul Ayer. He is only a freshman, and one of the coaches down there I was talking to from Millikan had nothing but nice things to say about the young man. He said, watch this young man. He's going to be quite a running back. He's a 4.0 student. He's got it all, the whole package. Nice pass.
Slater, the grab. He picks up 7, maybe 8, close to a first down. That'll bring up second down, keeps the clock moving. One thing the Rams can do from this set where they go with the hurry up and get to the line of scrimmage quickly is they don't have to run off the play now, because what this does, it freezes the Santa Ana personnel. They don't have to run the play right away. As long as they have their players to the line of scrimmage, that just keeps Santa Ana from making changes defensively. The grab made by Moore, and that's a first down. Well, where's this offense been?
I know, I'm just wondering right now. They find themselves in the fourth quarter, and they were moving the ball on the ground, and now all of a sudden it's let's do the hurry up. Nice little passes, safe passes, Willie. Nothing dangerous there. It's good. I like to see this. Maybe Coach Peralta saying, fellas, I want to see a little bit more life in our offense if we're to have more league success later on this season.
And between the 30s, they've had all kinds of success, but this is where they've had their problems. But Knighton, he scrambles inside the 20. He's able to get a first down again for the Rams. And coming out of nowhere, Kendrick Knighton to ignite this offense.
Look at this, goes up the middle, right there. Got by a guy, tried to grab him at the ankles. Knighton, straight arm there, goes down. Real good run by Knighton.
Meanwhile, back to virtually live action. Passing complete, brings up second down, clock stops at 9:02 left. Well, that's the risk you take when you put the football up in the air. But now with the football at the 17, honestly, a field goal, all that does is prevent the Saints from winning on a touchdown and a field goal.
You know, Millikan's looking for a touchdown here all the way, Willie. They're not satisfied with a field goal. Up the middle for a few more yards. They're moving the ball.
It is Knighton who does so. I think the critical point of this game was not the Millikan offense, but when the Millikan defense was able to stymie the Saints inside the 15 when they had a 1st and 10, got the first down inside the 3, then had 1st and goal, could not get in the end zone. Pass, what a grab by Eric Slater. Holy cow, what a grab.
Yeah, that was a one-handed grab. That young man's got a big paw.
That was an alley-oop virtually as Slater went up and cradled it with one hand, bringing it down.
Here it is. Look at this. In the air. Take a good look at this. It doesn't get much better when you talk about high school receivers. His left-handed paw hauls it in, and the Santa Ana guys, 3 of them around, probably thinking, I can't believe he caught that. A superb catch by number 45. What a catch. Eric Slater. Great catch.
Jose Leon listed at 5 feet even. I got a tough time believing Leon's only 5 feet tall. I'm guessing that's a typo and possibly 6 feet, but still 5 or 6 feet. He's still giving up a few inches to Eric Slater, who's a big kid. And with the pass beyond Jose Leon, I still can't believe the roster says 5 feet tall.
Slater looked 7 feet tall. Now they're trying to punch it in up the middle.
Did they get it? Every Ram with the same signal. We're looking for some zebra stripes.
There it is. There it is, Willie.
Yeah, it's not the Ram that needs to give the sign. It's the zebra.
Yeah,
he does.
You're right. The zebra counts in a game of football, and it is a big touchdown, a huge touchdown for the Millikan Rams. Now for the point after. If they hit this, Willie, it'll be that 16-0 gap that they wanted with about 9 minutes left to play in the ballgame.
Honestly, if I'm the Rams, I'm going for 2, meaning that it would take 3 scores to win. this only means that the Saints could tie with 2 touchdowns and 2 extra points.
You got a penalty flag now.
Well, the flag's down. If it's against the Saints, they'll reboot, like I do on my computer all the time. However, if it's against Millikan, it'll be declined, and it appears it will be. So we stay at 15-0. We'll take a look at a break. Since we don't have that touchdown again, it would be too brief to look at again anyway. We'll take a break. Back with more in a moment. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. We come to you from the campus of Millikan High School, where the Rams lead the Saints of Santa Ana High School 15-0. And here is the touchdown. I don't know if you want to call that a run, but
quarterback sneak up the middle.
As Aguirre takes it in for 6. That should, for all intents and purposes, put this game away. However, no high school game ever over till it's over. It's a shotgun, and there's a new quarterback in the lineup as this pass thrown up virtually for grabs, and it's down the sideline, and it's going to work for 6 if it counts.
Yeah, we've got a couple of flags down.
Juan Ramirez gets in the end zone. Chains aren't moving. The referee's not moving, at least not quickly. And he's pointing back, holding.
Wow.
Well, the Saints get in, but they're right back out again.
So, Willie, they went to something fancy. They went to the shotgun formation, and there was a hold on it. We're going to look at it on the replay right here. Look at this. First time shotgun. There it is.
No, the holding was at the line of scrimmage.
I thought he was going in his back for a block in the back there almost.
And then this down the sideline he goes. But when you're running after the guy about to score a touchdown,
yeah,
you got to be careful who you run into.
That's right. That's right. There was a zebra in danger.
Matt Schauber, Dave Schauber's son and friend of all officials apparently, is he ran into.
That's not going to help. That's not going to help you get any calls later in this ball game, by the way.
And nothing beats a personal introduction. Come on.
Once again,
Lee Lopez. Lee Lopez is now the quarterback, and he's just throwing it up for grabs, and it is intercepted. Ironically, Mike Che of the Rams got up to run, but in high school football, if you've got possession and you're on the ground, you're down. But the Rams get it back, and we've got Errol Parker down the field.
Eddie, this is great down here. All the spit and the mud and the polyseeds all in your face. I don't see how you don't like it down here every week. This is a real good football game, but you know the coaches really brought Millikan up at the brink of really maybe sliding down emotionally. They got with their units, and they really pumped them up. The offensive line had a really good series, and the defense held, so Millikan's in control of this football game, but they almost let it slip away with that touchdown that was called back. Back up to you, Willie and Eddie.
Back down on the field, there was a roughing the passer after he released it, but before the interception, so the Saints will retain possession, and they'll get a first down. Meanwhile, in reference to what Errol had to say, can you wear Brooks Brothers down on the field, bro?
You know, I'll tell you this. I like to wear comfortable shoes down there. I'm getting some laughs about white shoes, but I wore dress shoes and walking around down there. I was sore. My left knee, which I had surgery on, was bugging me. It's gym shoes from now on down on the field.
We've never said that you don't wear comfortable shoes. 7:24 left in this ball game. In watching the new quarterback, Lee Lopez, throw the football, when he throws it, he's backing up. He's either, worried about taking a hit, or he has the oddest passing, I don't know, just way he does it, just in very odd style.
Lee is a sophomore too, Willie. Another sophomore. He's whipping it up. Oh, this one. Whoa, look at this. There were Rams all over, but one of the Saints came back. You'll see him come back to the ball, and I think that's great. I see a lot of youngsters that run a pattern do not come back to the ball. This is great. Let's take a look at this, Willie. Watch this.
Well, when you throw it up for grabs, you got a 50-50 shot of one of your guys coming down with it. And that's exactly what happens here. Watch his form. throws it back and up, which takes a lot of the oomph out of the pass. Hey, but when it's your guy underneath it, nothing goes wrong. Chris Weaver comes up with it. First down and 10.
So Lee Lopez, a sophomore, in for the Saints right now. Santa Ana down 15-zip. Willie, we've got just under 6 minutes to go in the ballgame.
Not only are the Saints playing against the Rams, but now they're playing against the clock, which shows under 7 minutes left. Again up for grabs and nearly picked off. Nice play defensively. Was that Schauber again? That was Matt Schauber. And it was interesting as he went back, you watched the receiver who made a move towards the ball that was coming down, and that's when Schauber made the turn and nearly came up with the INT.
Willie, watch his delivery. This kid uses a lot of wrist. He flicks it with a lot of wrist and a sidearm motion here.
While backing up.
Yeah.
And that's what takes a lot of the zip out of the pass.
He does.
Obviously, he can throw it a lot further than Curiel can, and Curiel was throwing it in the dirt. That pass has some zip.
Whoa, that was a beauty, right on the money.
Well, for Lopez, though, that was the first time he's had adequate time to throw and plant his foot and throw with a good formation.
That's Mario Alvarado that caught that. Number 82, a tight end for the Saints. This was a beauty right here. Take another look at it. Here's Lopez. As you mentioned, Willie, he's got lots of time. Strange delivery on the money to Alvarado. And then a big stick in the back by number 17 from Millikan. That is Leyland Haas. Leyland Haas with the stick, but maybe the prettiest pass play you've seen tonight from the Saints.
Well, there's so few to choose from, I'd have to agree. 5:10 left. Up for grabs, nearly picked.
And if that was picked, I think it was going to be 6 for Millikan.
Raymond Ignacio sending best wishes and greeting cards because he would have been in the end zone.
Raymond's going to think about that all weekend. I guarantee Ignacio's going to be doggone it. I would have gotten 6 out of this one.
He would have been doing his Rose Bowl float parade wave.
No, you can't do too much celebrating. There's a couple of Long Beach kids now that have gotten it. One of them, DeAndre Grant, isn't in here. Grant, and then Herman Ho Ching next week. I'm sorry he's not going to be in that Dominguez Poly game, will he?
Indeed, he will miss that really good football game. But as what we saw last week, Poly's got a lot of weapons. This pass up for grabs. Fair catch called for. Well, not really, as it was incomplete.
You know, number 10 came back to the ball that time, but there was a little bit too much air under it. That ball hung.
Well, that was, when you throw it up the way he did, I mean, literally up for grabs. That's a Hail Mary style pass.
Well, you know, I heard inside scoop about the Willie, get this. I heard the Herman Ho Ching story is that he heard that we're not covering their game next week against Dominguez, and he wasn't that interested in being on Fox Sports West, I guess. So maybe that might have been it.
Fox who? Oh, that's right. They do high school games. Oh, yeah. Dropping back, Lopez. Going over the middle, nearly picked. I tell you what, the Rams have had their hands on the football as much as Saint receivers have. They just haven't been able to hold on to any of them.
You know what? I would have liked to seen this kid in earlier, though. I'll tell you that. All I know is that he gets the ball downfield.
But it means that you have scrapped your running game. There is no running game at this point. Yeah. Then again, does it really matter since it's worked inside the 40, but it's 4th down and 10 now.
You're down 15 points with 5:52 to go. You've got to throw a lot of passes.
Well, at the very least, the clock stops. And now a timeout is called as the Saints need time to decide what they're going to do with 4th and 10, facing a 15-zip deficit. We'll be back with more in a moment. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. It's the 4th week of the non-league campaign. Next week, we visit, shall we say, jokingly, the Middle East as we go to Jordan. Some people
no comment.
Familiar with world geography would understand that reference to Jordan, the country. But we are going to Jordan High School as the pass falls incomplete on 4th and 10. The Rams will get it back. Next week, we visit Jordan as the Panthers take on the Linwood Knights. And then it'll be more league football as it'll be Long Beach area teams facing off against each other, vying for the 3 automatic bids to the Division I CIF Southern Section playoffs. They face, in the playoffs, teams from the Sunset League and several other leagues that participate. They've changed the names so often in the participants, it's hard to remember them all.
All right, Willie, so now Millikan takes over with 5:46, and I got a feeling we won't see too many passes from Millikan. I think it's time for them to run out the clock if they can.
Well, if they could, DeAndre Grant would be the one getting the football. In fact, that'd be the bread and butter right now for the Rams, but instead they'll have to go with the two tailback combination that they've been using of Knighton and Air.
Speaking of DeAndre, were you a little bit surprised when I asked him? I was surprised when I said, what running back would you like to emulate? And he came up with Napoleon Kaufman. I thought the Sherman tank, DeAndre Grant, was going to come up with somebody else. How about
Craig
you?
Ironhead Hayward or something like that. Something in a bruising, big, burly type fullback, not one of these fleet tailback types. Pass, could be a lateral. What's the call? Incomplete. And I'd say that was a good call. So the clock will stop. Yeah, I never would have figured that DeAndre Grant would like one of those fleet tailback models. That would be like Norman Schwarzkopf driving a Porsche convertible or something.
He caught me totally off guard when he said Napoleon Kaufman. I said, I wonder what kind of big horse he's going to say he wants to emulate. And there he came with Napoleon Kaufman. I was going to ask him, even after Kaufman got caught from behind last week on that one?
Yeah, there goes his blazing speed. There's the former 100-meter, 200-meter champion out of Lompoc. Well, his speeds are going. We'll take a look at the numbers on DeAndre Grant. 5'11", 239.
Right there.
That's offensive line material in most schools. Pass complete. Good for a first down for the Rams.
Number 80 catching that, Justin Peterson.
Justin Peterson, 6-foot senior. First time we've called his name and number.
And showing good hands on that. I like that. He looked good. Justin Peterson, nice catch. All hands on that reception.
Could have said Peterson just in.
Come on, oh!
Indeed he was. Made the grab. First down, 5 minutes left. Rams could run out the clock and just get a couple first downs, and it would be over if they choose to run the football for the remaining number of plays that they have. The Saints have used, I would think, their allotment of timeouts. Actually, they have one left.
That was Paul Air on that carry again, number 22 for the Millikan Rams. Fine young running back. You don't see that too often. I mean, a freshman in the backfield. He's a good one.
They did not put any height and weight on his line in the roster, figuring that he's probably going to grow in both height and weight by the time the end of the season arrives.
There he is. Look at that, this kid. He is fleet and also shows a lot of strength at the end of this run. Paul Ear.
Well, he has had an outstanding game, and he's been getting a bulk of the work.
Here we go, Willie. Look at the kid. He hits the hole fast. Nice hole. Here he is, looking quick. Look at this. Takes a big bounce. Drive with the legs. Hey, this kid is courageous. A lot of guts. Paul Ear's got it all. He's fast, and he's not scared to take a shot or give one out.
I like the fact that he didn't try and do too much with the football, trying to get maybe an extra 3 or 4 yards and maybe lose the football. Nice grab by Kyle Moore, and then a nice move as he's down the sideline. He'll get wrapped up from behind, but not before getting a first down and a whole chunk of real estate down to about the 12. Watch the grab. I think it's a one-hander. That's a new thing, I guess.
There it is. Hauls it in. Left-handed one hand, and now a lot of speed. Look at this, down the sideline. You thought he was going to break it, and you know what? If that guy didn't get a hand on his shoulder pads, he was gone. Nice run.
Earlier in this quarter, we saw Eric Slater with the right-handed one-handed grab at the goal line. Now it's Kyle Moore with the left-handed one-handed grab. It's the new thing, I guess.
And how about Millikan throwing the ball just when we thought they might have run out the clock? Tony Peralta wants to score some more points. There's a pitch.
It's the option to Ear here, butting his head like a ram into the defensive back for the Saints. Well, when all else fails, emulate your mascot. As he head-butted Brian Thacker.
Rams are good at doing that.
Aguirre, smart move. Give it to the running back who gets
Double hit right there by Ear. Helmet contact with both of those Saints.
Yeah, actually getting worse for the wear was Carlos Petrita. He's the one that really took the hit. Again, back to pass. It's complete. Is he in? Or they'll say shy of the goal line.
Yeah.
He's shy of the goal line. Did they give him the first, however? He would have had to land it with about 6 inches to go. Because
I think so. I think he might have made the first down. Let's see. Well, they got a 2 up there. I thought he made it. I thought it was going to number 80, Willie. This was rather deceiving.
Yeah, it looked like it was for Peterson. Instead, it went to Mark Wells.
Yeah.
And he did get the first down. And there wasn't much between that first down marker and the goal line. So he got in one of those itty-bitty zones. 2.5 minutes left. Now, last year we saw the Rams in a similar situation a couple weeks after they had been shown up when playing Wilson High School, who threw for a touchdown pass when the game was no longer in doubt. And I saw Coach Peralta's team take a knee at about the 5. I thought that was impressive, but still with 2.5 minutes left.
Mark Paxton right there for the TD, Willie. Number 39 of the Millikan Rams. Mark Paxton, he's a senior, 5'6", 152. Let's look at it one more time.
And what's that, his second carry of the game, maybe? They knew who they were giving it to. Let's give the senior the score. 2:13 left, 21 zip. Caceres on to try and make it 22. Actually, different kicker, Brian Fisher, a sophomore, in to kick. Placement down, kick is up. Kick is wide left. Well,
now we're going to look at the touchdown, Willie. Watch this again. Number 39 punching it in from about a yard out. Paxton untouched.
he probably would have enjoyed it more if he would have been touched. You know, had to grind a little bit. 21 zip, Rams lead it.